All right, here we go.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, directed by Dan Kor and Daniel Schneider. Now, this movie I was actually excited to see because when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, Michelle Yeoh kicking ass in a multiverse movie. I was like, with Hiku Kwan with it, is like back into acting. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be an exciting movie. Now, this is a story about a woman, you know, who's basically an everyday woman. She has lots of problems. Her marriage is not the best. She has problems with her daughter, with her family. You have this basically drama basically going on of this average, everyday working woman, which really sets up really well. And then all of a sudden having her find out that there's a multiverse, like infinite billions of versions of her, and something is happening to the multiverse, and now they need her help to help basically save the multiverse. And it's kind of like twists and turns and mangoes all around, and the movie is just super entertaining. It's super weird. Now when people tell you this movie is weird, it's like, oh, the movie's weird. No. This movie is weird. Like, it gets really weird. Like, this movie is ballsy as hell. This movie has some balls at some moments. When I saw the movie, I was like, damn, that the studio allowed just like scenes like that to happen. Michelle Yeoh plays this average day working woman in a laundry lawn, which she has with her husband, with Hiku Kwan, and her daughter Stephanie Sue, and with her father James Hwang. Who was just like, the cast is so great in this movie, and the acting is really phenomenal in this movie. It's really great. The direction is also interesting. I must say the stunt work in the movie is done really great. The fights are very creative and really fun. Like, there's a fight where a dude, it's like, I don't want to spoil it, but like, it's a dude fighting Michelle Yeoh, and they have something on them, which I never saw anybody fight with it. I think if you know what I mean, I think you have seen the scene. You know what scene I'm talking about. You know, Michelle Yeoh discovered this multiverse, and she finds out that she can like hack into different skills of fighting and this and that. And what I really like about this movie, like, in order to like activate different types of skill sets, because you can basically connect to all the different versions of you, is like you have to do weird stuff, which adds to some really great comedy. Like, there's some really hilarious stuffs in this movie where people have to do weird stuff to order to get like this God mode basically activated. The main villain of the movie, like, it's told who it is in this movie, and I feel like, okay, it was an interesting part, but then the more the movie continues, it kind of doesn't execute it as well, because I really feel like the first half of this movie is really great. Like, the first half of the movie is really great. I love the setup, I love the build up, I loved her getting into the multiverse, explain her being in the multiverse, finding out, and then after the second act, like in the second act, in the middle, like the movie gets super weird, which I also love. Like, it goes to the super weird tantrum where you get to see infinite versions of her. There's a scene in this movie where it's basically you have two objects talking to each other for a long period of time, and they have this emotional conversation with each other, and it's just two objects, which is just like, I love the length that this movie goes to. Like, I do love the lengths that movie goes to. Like, I love that it pulls no stop. It goes over and beyond with the craziness and the weirdness of the movie. And it also you have this fun multiverse of Michelle Yeoh kicking ass and also trying to find out, you know, what's going on and why is it happening and why her, basically. Because like in the trailer where you said there are infinite versions of you, but somehow we need you because you're the most average version of everything. And like I said, now even though you have this craziness going on, you have her cool action with it going on, at the core this is really a family drama with craziness mixing together. Because if you really look at the movie, you know, the more it continues, you can really tell this is a story about, you know, about marriage, about having a daughter, a relationship with your father, about choices you couldn't make, dreams you could have had, the life you could have had if you have made one simple choice, you know. It really taps into almost every type of conversation that you have in a family drama. You know, her not getting along with her daughter, trying to solve with that, why her daughter is mad, you know, her daughter is gay, and that's also a bigger problem, you know, with the older parents. Like, it talks about so many things, which is great, but it's kind of at the same thing, the movie loses focus. And that's what I think it becomes a problem, because like there's no problem with pacing or anything, because like I said, the first act, the second act is great, but when it comes to the third act, when you're supposed to have like, you know, conclusion and like the final showdown, there are some fun moments, but it takes way too long to get to the final conclusion of this movie, because we already know, and like we already know what the conclusion is basically, and they already say it, but they feel like they drag it out for another 25 to 30 minutes. And this is also what I feel like, this movie is too long. I feel like the movie could have been really easily half an hour. We could have cut out the movie and the movie would have been better. I feel like because the movie was so long at the end, it was just like dragging on and on and on and on. The point which you already know is just like, okay, we know, just like get to the point faster. Those are like the negative points of the movie, because it's not like, and like I said, the storytelling, it kind of falls through, because it starts off, like I said, you have this average working woman, and then she gets sucked into this crazy world where she finds out about the multiverse, and then other weird stuff happen. Those aspects are all great, but then it kind of like loses the focus of telling a cohesive story, because then it just basically focus more, you know, on having weird stuff happen, have the plot or the characters not really, you know, continue their growth, because, you know, it kind of like cuts to the, oh, let's just have weird stuff happen because it can. Kind of leaves the characters a little bit, you know, not fully concluded. And when it does, it drags on a long time. Like it takes a long time for the characters to finally have this resolution. This movie basically has like multiple endings. There's one fake out ending, which I think was clever and was actually hilarious in the movie. And like I said, there are moments where I really felt like if you would cut out like get faster to the conclusion, the movie would have been so much better, because the rest of the movie is really great. The acting, a fun story, super weird, crazy shit happened in this movie. Everything I love is just like at the end was just, it took too long for a conclusion that we as the audience already know. And I feel like at the end it kind of also becomes like the same story, you know, that you've seen in many movies. Like I thought the story would go in a more like unique way, but it feels like it's the same story, unfortunately. Like I said, it's a family drama, you know, like mother and daughter not getting along, father and daughter having, you know, a difficult relationship, you know, because she's taking care of him, the marriage not always being the best. You have this super loving Hugo Kwan, who really, I must say, is an MVP in this movie, because he is so great in this movie. Like, I'm really happy to see him back in acting. I really want to see him in way more movies. Like, he's really great. He really shines in this movie. So does Michelle Yeoh, James Hong, and Stephanie Su. All are great. But Hee Kwan really did an amazing job in this movie. I really have to have some. And the direction is fun, like I said. The first half of the movie is really great. The second half of the movie is kind of where the movie falls, but I feel like they kind of lost focus and telling a kind of coherent story, because they kind of focus more, let's have absurd and like weird stuff, you know, but they kind of forgot about the story in the same while. So like I said, everything everywhere all at once. I had a good time with this movie, but at the end it was kind of like, it was dragging on, like I said, keep mentioning. I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10. Now, everything everywhere all at once. Let me know what you think about the movie. Did you like it or did you didn't like it? I enjoyed the movie, just like I said, like the first half of the movie was so much more engaging and interesting than the second half of the movie, unfortunately. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and as always, see you next time.